Hey everybody, Zam from FRF. In today's podcast, I will give you the secret formula to stay fit through your career as a firefighter, EMT, and paramedic. Honest to God, stay tuned.
You're listening to the Fire Rescue Athlete Podcast with Aaron Zamzow, talking all things health and fitness for the first responder community.
Hey everybody, Zam from Fire Rescue Fitness. This is a podcast for FRF and the FRF Nation. That's right. Today we're going to talk about the secret formula. All right, it's not a secret formula. I just tried to get you to listen, but it is a formula that you need to follow to have success with your health and fitness through your career as a firefighter, EMT, and paramedic. Now, I like to go back to this when I feel like I'm not making progress. When I get emails and I get people asking me, hey, what do I need to do? I feel like I'm just not making any progress, or I need to start working out. This is it. This is where I go back to. This is the foundation to build a very, very solid level of health and wellness and fitness that can go on through your entire career. Now, I like to call this the Forrest Gump or the truck guy's approach to fitness. I like to simplify stuff because I think there's so much out there. We could start to really get, over our heads and get paralyzed by overanalyzing all this stuff. And so when that happens, go back to this. Again, I follow this basically and have for my career personally. And this is what I do when I coach athletes or when I work with individuals. We go back to, here's the firefighter fitness success formula. It is number one, focus on diet. Number two, functional weight training at least 3 times a week. And number three, 90 minutes of cardio conditioning each week. That's it. That is the success formula. Now, I know you're like, dude, I know this. You're not really telling me anything. I know it's not a secret, and that's lame. But hear me out now. There is also a priority, which I think we all need to understand and resort back to. The priority of this should also be in the order I listed. You really need to focus on your diet in order to make really good fitness success. And here's why. Your diet not only determines your level of health and fitness, but it also determines energy levels. Your potential for diseases, mood. It really, everything health and wellness can really resort around what you eat. So if you focus on that nutrition, you wind up getting more energy so you can actually work out and be more mobile and be more active through the day. So focus on that diet first, then make sure that you're doing functional, and I'm going to say full body, but hear me out on that one, training at least 3 times a week, 30 minutes, and then you integrate in the cardio. And some people might be surprised. They're like, Zam, what about doing cardio before, I just want to start moving, going to go for a run walk before I start doing resistance training. Here's why I believe that's wrong. Because sprains and strains happen all the time on the fire ground. Working a functional resistance training session and doing that properly will help with mobility, it'll help with strength, it'll help reduce your chances of those injuries. And if you do it properly, you can actually challenge the heart, which we'll talk about a little bit. And I'm going to say, and it also keeps your metabolism high because you keep more muscle mass. And so there's so many positive things around functional resistance training. I think they outweigh cardio. So you focus on your diet, you functionally train resistance, and then you do your cardio. And now let's break that down a little bit. So now you're kind of hopefully listening going, all right, I'll hear you out on this one. Here's the basics for nutrition. And I do have a blog post. It's got all this stuff written out. It's actually got some really cool infographics to help you kind of understand. And I hope you go back to this formula a couple times throughout your career. And personally, what happens, to me is I'll do really well. I'll follow this. And then all of a sudden I feel like I'm not making any progress, kind of spinning my wheels. And I just go back to this formula, not only for nutrition, but for resistance training. With diet and nutrition, there's so many different things out there. Keto, paleo, cabbage soup, I don't know, you name it. All these different diet plans. And the thing that they all have in common is a lot of them talk about hydration. And so that's the first step in creating your foundation success formula for nutrition. Make sure you stay hydrated. Water helps with every metabolic system. Water helps with movement. Water helps with energy. There's so many good things that staying hydrated brings. So make sure as a first responder, you try to get about half your body weight in ounces of water. I weigh 170 pounds, so I try to get around 85, 90 ounces of water a day. Even more if I'm in a fire situation or if it's really hot out. So stay hydrated. It helps again with so many different processes. The second part of this is, and this is where all diets, one of the things every diet has in common, whether you're eating, paleo or keto or whatever, it makes you think about what you eat and understand, okay, is this food, what's in this food that I'm eating? I believe that is the be all end all, one of the best steps, and which is why that's my step two. Step one is hydrate. Step two is determine what your current calorie intake is and what you're eating, which means that you start to understand and measure serving sizes, look at labels, start to calculate, all right, how many calories do I normally get? What is in this food? And how much of it am I really eating? If you really start to focus on that, and it's not that difficult. There's MyFitnessPal, there's this Lose It app, there's all these different apps out there where you literally can take a picture of the food and it'll tell you what's in it. But I just think if you take that second to start to calculate these things, I like to tell, when I'm coaching individuals, I say, go back, record everything you eat, in one of these apps or write it down. And so you understand how many calories you ate, how much sugar you had in grams, protein, fiber, fat, and carbohydrate. And once you look at that, things become really clear. You don't have to be really, astute in nutrition when you look at it and go, oh man, I thought I was only eating like, 1,200 calories or 1,500 calories. And here I'm eating 2,200. And oh my God, I'm eating over 150 grams of sugar a day. I'm not getting enough fiber, or I'm not getting enough protein. So the second step to, creating your successful nutrition formula is just understand what you're eating. Personally, like I said, I go back, I'll record 3 days, especially not every day, not every week, but every couple of weeks, I just go back to this. So I make sure that I'm making progress or working towards that particular goal. Now, the third step to this, and I list this in the blog, is how to determine how many calories you should be intaking. And this gets into more like weight loss. So calories 101 is this: if you want to lose weight, you burn more than you intake. If you want to maintain, you keep that the same. And if you want to gain, you eat more calories than you burn. That's the 101. Now, where does quality of calorie come into this? Here's where quality comes in. There is research out there that says, professors have eaten ho-hos for a whole month, 1,000 calories worth of ho-hos, and they've lost weight. Now, they felt like crap. They didn't have a lot of energy. They were crabby. The other thing that happens is that, you lose muscle mass, and your metabolism actually starts to slow down as you lose that muscle mass. The quality of the calorie helps recomposition your body, meaning gives you, muscle, which can boost your metabolism. You burn more calories, the more muscle you have. It helps you with energy levels, helps you feel better. So yes, it can be as simple as calories in, calories out. But then when you start to look at quality, that's where you look at, hey, I'm going to get more muscle and, start to feel better and perform better. First things first, before you even, and granted, I didn't say you need to stop eating anything. Just figure out what you are currently eating. That'll go a long way towards educating you. And, like I said, from there, then most of the time it motivates people to make those changes. So you figure out what you're eating, you're drinking enough water, and then you can make some subtle changes. And again, those will be very apparent to you after you record those 3 days. But when you do record them, measure out stuff, understand serving sizes, use one of those apps because they are really helpful and easy. And it'll get you thinking a little bit more about what you're eating, and that's going to really help you just improve your overall health. Now, as far as resistance training, we talked about functional resistance training. Now, I'm not saying don't do body part training, but here's what I typically see with people who do, chest and triceps Monday, back and biceps Tuesday, I'm going to do legs on Wednesday. And then, what happens is you skip a day. Either you had a tough shift or you can't get to the gym. Typically it's leg day. So what happens then, you don't work legs till maybe another week or 2 weeks. And that kind of brings you down this whole kind of rabbit hole where, all right, so all you're really doing is some upper body isolation exercises a couple times every week. And that doesn't necessarily transfer to performance. So what you need to do, especially if you're getting in a rut or you're just starting off, resistance train 3 times a week, 30 minutes. And in that resistance training program, you take 3 exercises to work on warm up, active movement. They could be anything from a body weight squat, just a simple 6 to 10 reps. I like to do this thing called a Spider-Man with rotations. If you go firerescuefitness.com, you'll see that exercise everywhere. If you go to our YouTube page, you'll see me demonstrating that. But start with 3 active movements, integrate in then 3 core exercises, and then you can go to full body. I love dumbbells. I love TRX. I think they're very functional to what we do. They're fast, they're efficient. I'm not saying don't use a bar or bench press, but when you look at, hey, you might not be making progress, that dumbbell forces your body to work a lot of the stabilizing muscles, which transfers to better performance and can lead to reduction in injuries down the road. So full body strength 3 times a week, active movement, core, full body functional. Use things like dumbbells and TRX. You can also use, body weight stuff, and then finish with like a 4 or 5 minute stretch where you're just working on some of the muscle groups. Just hold those stretches where you're really tight. That's really it. That's back to basics. Now, if you want to eventually get back into body part training, if you stay consistent 3 times a week, maybe you should add in a cardio or 2, so it turns into 4. Then you can go back to your body part training once you stay consistent. Again, this is the framework for better health and wellness. This is your base. This is your foundation. Stick to that foundation, especially if you're going through trouble and you're not able to get, stay on track. And then the number 3, which is perform consistent cardio training. Cardio training comes in 2 forms. One is steady state, where you're, walking for 30 minutes, riding a bike for 30 minutes, going for a jog. And that's okay to do, especially if you're just beginning and getting back into fitness. Work on that. But where you really will see the difference is in high intensity interval training. And I believe that transfers to what we do on the fire ground, because it's a go, 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 stop, go, 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 stop. It also can help you burn more calories, and it can really help, increase your anaerobic level of fitness, which is, kind of what we challenge when we're humping hose line or we're on air. The basics to that are, 3 times a week, at least 20 to 30 minutes where you're working your heart. One of those days could be a run walk session. One of those days could be setting up some intervals where you integrate in fire ground movements like crawls, carries, stairs, sledges, drags, pushes, set up a circuit like that. And then another one can just be doing just doing some simple 3/4 runs in the back parking lot. What we like to do in our FRF programs. And by the way, I have a program for you for free for listening to the podcast. I'll also send that link up. It's 28-day Catalyst program. It shows how you can integrate in some interval training at the end of your resistance training. So it's a twofer. You can increase and improve your functional fire ground movements, work your heart, and also improve your strength, which will translate to better performance. You also feel better. And we've had thousands of athletes lose fat, gain strength, and really transfer and turn their entire health around by integrating in this workout program. So that's also free. It's a 28-day. It has all this in where, at the end of resistance training programs, what I like to do sometimes are 4 or 5 minute, I like to call them balls out cardio sessions where, you might do a burpee challenge where you try to do 10 burpees every minute and on the minute. You do, 4 or 5 different movements back to back to back to back for 5 minutes. And what I found, it really simulates what we do when you're on air and really helps with recovery. And then lastly, on all this together, so you got some nutrition basics you can follow. You got resistance training. What you can start to do for cardio. I mean, that's really the success formula right there. And then, the last part of this is just repeat, stay consistent, find ways to integrate it into and make it part of your lifestyle. If family is a challenge, which I know it usually is because of all the different things going on, have your family start to work out with you. I have, a lot of emails for, firefighters and medics. They're like, hey, my son and my daughter, they come down and hang out with me for 30 minutes. Sometimes they'll time me on my intervals. Sometimes they'll do the exercises with me. If you're working at a busy station, one of the best ways is to get your workouts in right away. If you're a chief, mark it down on your calendar. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 11 to 12, nobody bother me. I'm going to be getting my workout in. But you have to find a way to stay consistent. And then, this is your foundation. So if you do stay consistent, especially with the nutrition, then you can look at, all right, how do I up my protein? How do I get less sugar? If you're looking at your resistance training, you may want to add in, another day of intervals or go to body part training. But you have to be consistent first. You have to set and have this success formula foundation. And that's really what this is. I always say, start here, come back to this when you're struggling. Hopefully, I got so excited I hit my stop button, but I was just going to say, I hope this helps you out. Remember, this is your foundation. Come back to this. If you have questions on any part of this, if you need some help trying to figure this out, send me a message. You can reach me, firerescuefitness.com. To contact me goes right to me or my dog Tessa. She's horrible with replying, so it's got to come back down on my shoulders. I will get back to you and we can figure it out together. Let me know what I can do to help you, your crew, stay and get more fit for duty. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Fire Rescue Athlete Podcast with Aaron Zamzow. Please link and share if you'd like more.